Donnie and Dolly. The team is supported by ableauctions.ca. Closing your business? We can help.
It is Thursday, and today's guests, including John Shannon, are brought to you by Optic Foliar, the only lights-on spray with no damage and no burning to your plant leaves, plant efficiency, nutrition, results, all combined into a single solution for all stages of growth and safe to use on flowers. Spray it, see it, believe it. That's Optic Foliar. Visit this made in BC company online at opticfoliar.ca as we bring in NHL analyst and co-host of the Bob McCown podcast, John Shannon, as always on a Thursday. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great, boys. You?
Very well, very well. Good. Have you had dealings with Rocky Wirtz at all? Do you know him at all, John?
Briefly. And most of my dealings in my time at the National Hockey League were with John McDonough, who unceremoniously left that organization, 2 years ago? Yeah. But I did sit in a few Board of Governors meetings with Mr. Wirtz, yes.
Yeah, we should point out that he has apologized for his outburst yesterday. But just what's your opinion of that whole situation yesterday?
Well, you know, the Blackhawks, from the moment the report came, talked about transparency and talked about being an open book. And that was far from an open book that Rocky Wirtz gave at it was a town hall with season ticket holders and reporters. And it's one of those things where you know that he is as frustrated with everything that's gone on in his organization as anybody. But they have to keep the book open. They have to be able to tell the people in the Chicago area that they are working hard at this. They're being diligent about it and being transparent. You could see how uncomfortable everybody else in the dais was when he was speaking, including our pal Eddie Olczyk. So from that perspective, the fact that his PR people did get to him after the fact and he did apologize, you do realize that he did do something wrong, and at least that's some level of consolation prize. I don't think it's enough, though.
Yeah. What you just said there is what he should have came up with yesterday. I think he knows that now. John, Pat Verbik, new Ducks GM, experience with Steve Yzerman in Tampa Bay and Detroit. What kind of a job is he going to do?
Oh, listen, this under-the-radar guy. Under-the-radar guy as far as the job he's done. His name has come up in previous general manager searches. Everybody has said he just needs a little bit more experience. He needs a little bit more experience. Well, you know what? Those Stanley Cup rings that are on his hands are enough experience to be a general manager in this league. And it speaks to now the influence. Over the years, we saw influence of guys like, when you were a kid, Donnie, Sam Pollock, and the influence of Harry Sinden. Now we're starting to see the influence of Steve Yzerman. And Kenny Holland as somebody who has a tree of managers and director of pro scouting. Verbik will do a solid job there. And, the good news is that they have a really good stable of young players. Dallas Eakins has learned to coach that team. The Ducks are going in the right direction, and Verbik's another great hire. And remember in that, who was part of the hiring process? The Samueli family went out and commissioned guys like Scotty Niedermayer, Paul Kariya to be involved in this search. And so that, I think, tells you the diligence that they took to find a guy and to find the right guy.
John, the Canucks have their guys, Jim Rutherford and Patrick Allvin. The trading deadline, March 21st. Just a ton of rumors. John in Vancouver. Look, this is a Canadian market, and I think Rutherford's kind of sitting there going, geez, it wasn't like this in Pittsburgh with the rumors. It's going to happen. Your thoughts on what's real, what's not real, and could the Canucks potentially make a big move here, or is it going to take time?
Well, first of all, it's funny. I think it's in our DNA to start talking on the 1st of February about trades. And we've forgotten February, no matter when the trade deadline is, and the trade deadline is that much farther away this year. It's not, until the end of March.
Yep.
And so I think that and I say we, and maybe the fans are getting a little ahead of ourselves because I think there's a ton of evaluation still to be done, particularly when you think that Patrick Allvin is coming from an Eastern Conference team and coming to the West Coast, and he and Jim and everybody, including Emily and the analytics group, will get together. But I think the obvious ones make some sense. But to me, there's the two guys at the top of my list for the Vancouver Canucks would be Brock Besser, because you have to figure out in a flat cap world how you sign him and does it make sense. And I'm going to throw it out there and just get Rick's head spinning. Jaro Halak.
Good.
Because Spencer Martin has done the job. And the only thing that will happen now is Jaro Halak will be able to decide for Rutherford where he goes. It's not fair to say he's got a no move, because really what that does do is it tells the team that if I'm the player, I will control where I go if you want me to go. Because if there's a message to Jaro and to his representative Alan Walsh to say, listen, we can get something for Jaro. Where does he want to go? Then that makes some sense. So those are the two guys at the top of my list for the hockey club.
All right, All-Star weekend in Vegas. I got to be honest with you, John. I'm not excited. I'm not getting pumped up. What can the NHL do to be?
Oh my God.
Donnie's going to disagree. I'm not there. I'm not excited. I know it's Demko, and you know what? Maybe it's different if the Canucks have a forward there, John, who can score 15 goals in a game. But what are your thoughts going into the game?
Yeah. First of all, it's going to be difficult. I still think that there are going to be enough COVID regulations that it won't be near the fun that we always have had at All-Star games. The one thing I would say, there's two groups that this event is for. Yes. The first one is ESPN and ABC for Disney. They needed to put this game on the schedule and stick with this game to get that real estate on Saturday. Because remember, the NFL is playing the Pro Bowl the next day in the same city. So you couldn't very well say we're not going to have the All-Star game, and yet the National Football League is going to have their All-Star game. So that's one thing. The other thing is, All-Star games are for kids.
Yeah.
The All-Star games are for 12-year-olds.
You see,
All-Star games are for people to see all 32 different jerseys or sweaters on the ice together. To see Connor McDavid having a joke with Nathan McKinnon if he's going to show up, at least in civvies, to see. I remember in Montreal that when Alex Ovechkin and Evgeny Malkin had fun together.
Yeah,
that's what this is about.
Yes.
So it's from a broadcast perspective to get into the United States a bit more, and to see something you don't normally see, and that's what it's all about. It's not for the hardcore fan. It's not. I mean, the next thing you know, we're going to have analytics in the All-Star game, and then we're all going to be over the edge.
Stop it. And kids can become hardcore fans. It's like a 55-year-old criticizing Gritty. The mascot's not for you. It's for kids.
It's for the kids.
Maybe it is for you. I'm not sure.
I love Gritty.
Well,
I love Gritty.
That makes two of us.
You and I agree on a lot of things. Very quickly, John, I know you tweeted a lot about this, but Ralph Mellanby has left us at the age of 87. You worked with him for a long, long time. What was his impact, not just on Hockey Night in Canada, but the sport itself?
It was Ralph Mellanby long time ago that went to the National Hockey League and said, for television, would you mind putting the numbers on the shoulders of hockey sweaters?
Really?
Wow.
Yeah. That was one of the innovations that he came up with in the late 60s. If you look at team jerseys before that, they didn't have those numbers on the sides. Ralph did not invent Hockey Night in Canada, but he modernized it. The show that the three of us remember, the show that the three of us relish, was Ralph's show.
Yep.
The Baby Blue Blazers, Dave Hodge, Don Cherry, Howie. It was the show of record, and it had it had some gravitas because Ralph had gravitas, and he told people to have opinions and tell us why. Don't just show us what, but tell us why.
Tell us why.
He was an inspirational guy, bombastic as all hell, bombastic, but really, really talented and creative.
Rick's got something for you, John.
John, we got an email from a teacher named Andrew Hill at South Okanagan Secondary School in Oliver.
Oh, absolutely. Okay.
So
great.
he loves when you reference Oliver on our show. And Andrew came across this picture and wanted to share it with you.
Oh, that's my father.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's your father.
That's my father, R.J. Shannon, who you guys are going to get me here, who was the principal of the high school and was the vice principal before that. We lived a mile from the school, and we walked every day or we drove every day. It was a great time of our life.
Yeah. All right, John, see you're getting emotional there, and I understand why.
Oh, hey.
Yeah.
That's he's a great man. Fought in the war, fought for us.
Yeah.
Shanny, thanks for this. Appreciate it. We'll talk to you next week. Good memories.
Thank you for thank you for that.
Thanks, Andrew Hill, a teacher at South Okanagan Secondary School in Oliver. Thank you, John.
Thanks, John. Appreciate it. I didn't know that about Ralph Mellanby with the TV numbers. Just that's what they were called. I didn't know that story, but the numbers on the side of the uniforms, on the sleeves, were often called TV numbers, and I didn't realize that's why they were called TV numbers because of Ralph Mellanby. All right, a break. Donnie and Dolly, the team. I check.
Donnie and Dolly, the team is supported by AbleAuctions.ca. Closing your business? We can help.